Hello again, Corey here. I'm going to answer another question that I received, or I didn't specifically receive it, but I knew I could probably answer the question. But it was requested to be able to, know how to pull information for specific tickers. These listed here just so happens to be them. Which are basically the indices or the indexes, however you want to refer to them as. But I put this here to show you could just use, one of the formulas that I taught in another video, and you could just do Google Finance and do this ticker, and it'll give you the last price, right? But if you look here, you see that you have one of them that's 1 cent, while these other ones appear to be accurate. And actually, in this case, all of the other ones are accurate. That's why I put them in green, except for the one is not. Same thing with, some of you are similar with, I Spy. So if I put I Spy here and did Google Finance for that ticker and enter, it's going to say 1,945. And you and I both know that the I Spy that we would be looking at is not that much money. So we have to make sure that the data is pulling from the right place, which is easier for the ones that we're not looking for the indexes on. So I'm going to use this I Spy as the example first. And then some of these you can go straight into Google and you can just type them in and it would be easy. Of course, I Spy. Let me put stock or ETF beside that. One or the other will work. And then this pulls up. Well, if you look here, this says BATS I Spy in front of it. So if we go back to our sheet and say, let's just copy this down. We'll leave both of them there. And we'll do BATS, colon, and then no space, and then I Spy. And now we have a different answer, $42.65, which is the one that most of us, when we're looking at dividends or high yield dividends, this is the one that we are looking for. So that was easy if we were looking, looking for that specific one in Google, right? But if we were looking for, I don't know, SPX stock. This one actually, well, let's try this. So it gives you this. Let's just copy that, maybe. All right, let's see if we can copy and paste that here. Paste. Nope. Okay. Let's do it this way. There we go. You got it there on the second try. So we're just going to type that in. Now, this one, it looks like there may not be a space. Nope. Nope, there is. It's hard to tell there. So actually, that right there ended up working. There was one of these that I could not it was the XSP one. And honestly, this might not even be the one you're wanting. I just happen to know that is the one. Or it's one of them. So I'll say it's one of them. In this example, it might not be that particular one. But let's look at the other one real quick, and then I'll show you a different way to do this. It was the XSP. So if we put here XSP, and now it's going to bring this one up, which is a Canadian stock or ETF. And so that's not the one we want. You can see some different ones on the right-hand side. And those up there at the top, I'll say Canadian, and so on. So then what you could do is, I already have it up, obviously, up there, but then just type in Google Finance. Oh, I put a backslash, that's okay. And then you would go here. Again, I have it pulled up in the other screen, but I just wanted to show you about going through it. So now when I go here, I can type in that one, XPS. I think that's the one hold on, let me make sure that was right. XSP. Oh my goodness. XSP. And now, if I would have just done that and hit enter, it's going to go to that first one right there at the top, which is the one we saw when we did Google. But if we go down here, we can see this one says XSP Index CBOE. We could have also gone here instead of saying all and said, okay, well, I just want to see just the indexes. And then now we can see those for the indexes. So in this case, this is actually the one we are looking for. So here, now we see we have the index CBOE. So let's go over here. We're going to go index CBOE, and then we're going to do, what is that, XSP. Let me make this a little bigger. Okay, and I'm going to copy that formula down. And now you see it gives us the 523.42. So that's the thing to be careful here. I know I showed a non-index stock here, but anytime you're pulling in the stock data, you want to make sure that it's pulling in the correct information, which is why I had asked. It was Reaching Riches, you know, which tickers. But then I also asked them to send me the spreadsheet with the contracts on it that told me the strike prices, so I could compare the strike prices on here to the ones that I pulled up to make sure that I'm looking at the right stock. So what I've done over here, that was just to show you an example. But here I went and looked these up. Now some of these I already had because like this one, the Russell, and this one if it didn't have something beside it. And then one of these, I think it was the SPX. These I think are the ones that I had done when Retire on Dividends was trying to create formulas for his spreadsheet, and then had to go figure out how to go about doing that right so we could pull in the correct data so we wasn't having to look that data up every day. So I just added those on here because I had them on another spreadsheet, so you could see like this one says index Russell, then you have the index NASDAQ, and the index SP down here, and then the index CBOE. So I know this is just a handful of them. These are some of the ones from the Defiance, and then also the ones that that was just asked for or asked about by Reaching Riches. So I just thought I would show you a few of those, and then yeah, let's see. Oh, I highlighted here in blue. Oh, I know what it was. So I wanted to point out. So like these were actually pretty easy if you did the NQX, NDX, XND, and the XSP. But this one, you see the SPX and the INX, and then of course you have up here the NASDAQ Composite IXIC. I mean, like you wouldn't have known, right? Unless you were going to search for it by name, and then if you found it, if you're doing Google, right, like we just did a second ago. Yeah, obviously I've already been to it once, but when you, again, if you do that, you're probably going to find it here, but then you can go to Google Finance. But no, if you copy them from here, like we just saw a second ago, it probably has a space in it. And then, of course, if you're pulling it from over here, you're going to need to know that you do this first with your colon, and then add this part up here to it. So just be careful, because you see both of those have those periods in there, unlike the rest of these. So, but anyway, I hope that this was helpful. And it's really a good practice to do this. In fact, I have a spreadsheet, a big project that I was working on before I decided to do the Yield Max funds. And I decided for all the tickers that I had, I went and looked up every single one of them and put the data on it, on where it was pulling from, whether it was BATS, the NASDAQ, or the NYSE, or whatever, just so I knew 100% that it was pulling the data that I wanted. And of course, you could always, if you didn't want, to see this data here like this, you could, do a couple of columns. Let's say, you're just wanting to see this. And I didn't show you this earlier, and I guess I should have, and I say earlier in a different video. If you're wanting to pull in the name of the data, you can just put name there in quotation marks there. But what I was going to say, I'm going to hide that now. If you just wanted to see this, you could still create a column like this, hide it, still reference this column, but then just have the actual data you're wanting to see. So all of these just reference that. And then of course we talked about in a previous video, if you are wanting to pull this data by date, then let's say I'll just pull a date there, and then you would just do equals Google Finance, the ticker in this case. We're going to have all of that there, and then we're going to do comma, and then we are going to do, well, one, I want us to do my F function. So I want it to stay to the column, and then comma, and then we're going to do open, and now I want it to stay to the row, and then we're going to do comma, and then we're going to do it for this date, and I want to stay with the column again. Alright, and then again it pulls that table, and we don't want the table, we just want this price, so we're going to do the second row and the second column. So then we're going to do index, and then we're going to do comma 2, and close parentheses. And now we should be able to drag this down. Of course, some of these days, I don't remember which days were weekends or holidays. Oh, I don't have data in this case because I skipped lines on these. And then obviously this is the way you would want to do it. If you do it like I had the CVS one, I usually like put it in the corner or something, or like up here. But just to give you an idea of how you would do this, depending on how you want your things set up in columns and rows, or if you need open and close or whatever. But this shows you, this is just giving you the open, in this case, for this date, for this one. And then down here, because I have a different one. Now, if you were, again, if you just wanted to take this and say, let's put it up here, say you were doing open and close, and maybe, again, depending on how you want, undo, how you set your stuff up. Let's try this again. Copy, paste, and then let's just move this one up here. Of course, I would do all kinds of different colors and everything else. But now I want this one to stay with the row and not the column. Because I know it looked weird with all the dates and stuff, because I didn't really have this set up to do it that way. Let's just double check to make sure I had those. And then, of course, if it was a weekend, the prices aren't changing. So it's not going to have the hurt to have the weekends. But all I did was drag it versus putting a formula in there to have it only do weekends. Or weekdays, sorry. Or work days. So, let's do... Actually, this isn't going to work the way I... this isn't going to work the way I just set that formula up, because up here, it's moving over, and I needed to stay in that column for this because it's only in that one cell. But I had that set up, and then if I wanted, then I could just paste this, and now it'll do the next one for the next index. And then again, I could do the next one. It just depends. I know when I did this for Max, for we were doing historical data, right? And trying to figure out, not really figure out, but create a repository of all the prices. And, sorry. I created this big, massive workbook. And it had, like, all the dates and everything in it. And we went back and, yeah, just created a bunch of crazy stuff like this. Lots of worksheets and stuff. But yeah, and then I'm sure you already would know how to then format the data. I prefer accounting for myself. I don't want to see cents. Making that look nice. And then, yeah. Oh, we won't go into dates for now. But anyway, hopefully that helps you out. And then again, it just depends on how you want to lay out your data and everything. But there you go. If you need anything else, then let me know. Thanks. Bye.